Storytelling is an art, and it's actually very easy to become a storyteller. Trust me, with these 6 simple tips, you will become a great storyteller. But before that, why storytelling? Well, storytelling is one of the ancient art forms to connect with people, or let's call them audience. Now, your audience can be your customers, can be your team members, can be your peers, it can be anyone. And through storytelling, you can either inspire people, you can share some information, or you can sell a product or a service, you can simply influence someone. One of the most common skills of successful leaders is storytelling. So let's start. Tip number 1, know your audience. It is very important for you to understand who is the audience. Is it a bunch of new hires who just joined your organization? Or is it a town hall presentation that you're presenting to the entire organization? Or is it a guest lecture in some B school? Very important to adapt your message and your story to the audience expectations. So, for example, if you speak about highly technical strategies to college students, then it might not connect with them. Or if you're in, executive leadership meeting and you keep talking about tactical stuff, then that might also not go well. So it's very important to adapt to the audience and have your message, your story around their expectations. Tip number 2, what's the purpose? Start with an objective in your mind. Have your core message and then weave the story around it. It is very important for you to understand what you want the audience to take away from your story. Is it something that you want to motivate someone through your story? Then you can talk about, the challenges that you faced or someone else faced and how they came out victorious. Or is it something that you want to educate the audience, like sharing more information about, let's say, digital marketing or artificial intelligence or any other topics like that? Or is it plain information that you want to share about yourself, about your brand, about your organization, how you build a company, how you grew the company? So all throughout the story, keep the messaging clear. If required, make notes about key pointers so that you don't miss them when you're sharing your story. Tip number 3, use emotions. According to me, a story is amazing if it is filled with emotions. And don't just call out the emotions like, I was happy, I was really sad, or I was excited, I was nervous. I would say try and act it out. So, for example, rather than saying I was nervous, say that my feet started shaking, my palms were sweaty, and my throat was parched. I didn't know what was happening. Something like that. Or don't say that my boss was very happy with me. Rather say that that day after my presentation, my boss came to me and he patted on my back and he said, "Fantastic." This is how you will share the emotions and the audience can connect to those emotions. They can live the story. If possible, use characters in your story and describe those characters. Tall, short, thin, healthy, big eyes, curly hair, something like that. Audience really relates well with characters. and show some change, show some transformation. If you're sharing a motivational story, then talk about how the person started with nothing and where the person reached and the wins throughout the story. The audience relates to this and will be able to connect with the characters. Another important thing is try and get some surprise element, something that the audience is not expecting, a twist in the story, or in the emotions. Humor is also a very good skill to have. Try and make fun of yourself. People will enjoy that. Tip number 4, body language. As per a research, communication is 55% nonverbal, 38% vocal, and 7% words. Imagine 55% non-verbal. That is the power of body language. So it's very, very, very important to work on our body language. The message that you're trying to say, the story that you're trying to narrate, your body has to align to it. Your voice modulation, your eye contact, your expressions. It is critical to master your body language in order to be effective in storytelling. So don't walk back and forth. Don't fidget with your hands. Don't use props like your mobile phone or a marker or a pointer. Try and use a lapel mic or maybe a collar mic so that your hands are free for you to gesture and show the emotion that you're going through. It's also very important to use pauses. Pauses are very strong in storytelling. Tip number 5, prepare. Like practice makes one perfect. So try and visualize you narrating the story. Practice in front of your friends. Ask for feedback. Understand the places where you need to emphasize, the parts of the story that need emphasis. Always remember, there are 3 versions of your story. One that you prepared for, the other one that you delivered, and the third version is the one which was the ideal one. Now the audience knows only one version, the second version, the one that you delivered. They don't know the other two. And if you forget something, if you forget the sequence of your story, or if you forget a part of your story, don't worry. The audience doesn't have the script. Only you know the script. So just go with the flow. Carry on with confidence. And lastly, very important, the success of your story largely depends on this. Tip number 6. Focus on the first 5 seconds. Always, always work on the opening of your story. Your goal is to capture your audience attention. It is also known as the hook. So don't waste your time giving context or saying, hey, today I'm going to talk about a story. No, jump into it directly. And here are a few tips for you that you can start your story with. You can start your story with a motivational quote or a date. Just start with a date and continue. Or you can ask a question to the audience, but don't expect an answer. You can just say, hey, who believes in this? Raise of hands. Something like that. Or you can also start with a controversial trending topic just to catch the attention of your audience. It is very important to focus on the first 5 seconds because that will decide how your story goes ahead. See, please don't tell me that I don't have a story. Everyone has a story. All of us have stories. We just need to think and identify and get them out. See, at my age, I keep forgetting. That's why I keep writing down dates, pointers, incidents, which can be shared as a story. I'm sure you have something worth sharing, and you can try this as well and let me know if that works. And if you like these tips, then do me a favor. Subscribe to my channel so that you get your weekly dose of leadership tips and career guidance. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.